Hey y'all, I'm AdaKay, and I must confess, I'm a trial junkie. I enjoy viewing trials as if I was the seated juror. So grab a cup of java, get comfy, and join me as we hop into court. And don't forget to comment, like, and most importantly, subscribe. And if you're really enjoying the channel, please join our membership. Hello, everybody. Good Sunday evening. I hope y'all had a great day. I've had a good day. I feel better today. Got a lot of energy. Got a lot of sleep. Man, y'all had 13 hours of sleep. I don't know what to do with myself. Guys, tonight's going to be a fun night. We've got a special guest. I've got my snacks. I actually went and got snacks. Isn't that horrible? God only knows how long we're going to be on, you know. But first of all, share. Please like and subscribe. With no more delay, let me introduce you to the alternate juror, the woman who took the name that I couldn't use. Hello, love. How are you?
Hello.
I was so bummed. I searched the entire YouTube for alternate juror. Nobody popped up.
That's crazy.
So I was using the alternate juror for a while. And then someone said, Ada, there's somebody who uses alternate juror. I said, no, there isn't. I searched. Before I even started, I searched. And they go, Ada, here's the link. I'm like, dang.
My apologies.
Well, I almost said deaf, but I am deaf without my hearing aids, but I didn't want to use the word deaf in that for that reason. But that's okay. I'm glad you have it. It's good. It's there for a reason. We are all alternate jurors because we all are sitting there watching this stuff. And I just saw a case that I wish I could cover in San Antonio, but I can't because it's not going to be live, but it's bad. Oh, let's welcome everybody. Hello, Altoy. You're so amazing.
Oh,
Gabby.
Joy.
Hello, Gabby. Hello, peeps. Hello, AJ.
Hey, Gabby.
Hi, Toy. Oh, out and about with Diane. I did that on purpose. I had a friend named Diane, and I call her Diane. She was always glam. We have Hello, it's Brit. We have Gabby. Again, don't forget to smash the subscribe and like button. Yep. It's okay, Gabby. Go for it. You can go for it. Anybody can say that at any time. I am good with that. Oh, I think my ponytail's a little tight. Oh. So I want you, if you don't mind, to introduce yourself. Tell us about your journey, why you're doing this, and let us get to know you a little better.
Okay. I'm alternate juror. Everybody just pretty much calls me AJ. I started, like a lot of people did, watching trials with attorneys, and getting a different look at trials than what I have ever had before, because we only get to see what was on the news or whatever they wanted us to know. And it was really eye-opening. My purpose for doing my channel was, kind of like you say in your opening, of you're being seated, you're watching this as you're a juror. So I want to bring it to people as just a normal person. I'm not an attorney. I don't have any law training. I am just me. And I wanted people to see that everything is not like television. In fact, nothing of court is like television. It's boring sometimes. A lot of times it's very boring. And, you have to sit through that. But I wanted, hello, Carmen. It's my daughter. Everyone to see also that we go by what is presented in the courtroom. That's it. I don't care what you've seen outside on the news or whatever else. It's because what's presented in the courtroom is the only evidence that counts. If it's not presented in the courtroom as evidence, it doesn't exist. essentially, even if it does. So just to give people a feel of, hey, this is what's happening every day across our country. It's a very, everybody always talks about how to get out of jury duty. I've never had jury duty. I had moved, and my county had, my previous county had sent me a notice for jury duty, but I had moved out of county, so I didn't get to do it.
Dang, because I want jury duty. Give me jury and select me, please.
Yeah, and so I think a lot of jurors do take it very serious. Sometimes it feels like they don't, but I do believe when I hear attorneys talk about it that they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I also wanted to change that thought process that's in a lot of people's heads, that just because somebody is arrested and charged does not make them guilty. Police make mistakes. We see it all the time. They're human. Prosecutors are human. And things happen. Tunnel vision happens. So to try to get that thought process out of everybody's minds of, well, they're arrested and charged, because I had that same thing. Why would they arrest and charge you if they didn't have stuff on you, if they didn't have enough to convict you? Why would they even bring these charges? So I want to also change that thought process. That one's been harder to do. So, but I'm making progress, and that's probably the most important thing to me. I say before we watch any trial, I just want it to be clean. I want the prosecutor to be clean. I want the defense to be clean. I want the judge to be clean. I didn't realize how tall of an order that really is.
Well, I think, you're right. And I live in a very small town. A lot of us do. And sometimes people are arrested because somebody in that department doesn't like them, or they may be associated with somebody who is a criminal, and you're guilty by association. So if you so much as sneeze in any direction, and sometimes it's vendetta. I've seen that where people have said, well, so and so did this and you're connected to them, therefore you're lying to us, or you're capable of it, or whatever. And I think it's really sad. Sorry guys, I'm eating chocolate covered coffee beans.
Oh, yum. I also live in a small town, but I haven't seen, a lot of something that I could just point to saying that you were arrested because this person or that person. My daughter would be a better probably person to tell that story to me because she's younger. She also used to work for our local sheriff's department here before she moved. So she grew up here. So she knows a lot of people, and a lot of people did grow up here. They've stayed here. And
well,
so
I'm speaking
she would
from
know those more ins and outs.
experience on some of that, but my whole thing is you never know the full story, even after going to court, innocent or guilty, like the Lewis trial, where he was alleged to unalive his wife by burning, and she said, it was an accidental, and everyone was like, innocent? I don't think anybody was really prepared for that one.
I didn't watch that because I've been so wrapped up in Delphi, but I did see that there was an innocent verdict handed down, and I wondered how everybody thought about it, because if they thought that was correct.
I could see both sides of the fence. I really could. But in all honesty, the state screwed up. The prosecutor, of course, it was SLED, Colton County.
Oh.
They messed up the investigation. They didn't do a lot of things. They didn't do DNA on things. There was a lot of things they did wrong. And his attorney nailed them on the floor. Just nailed them down. And SLED is horrible. And so
Absolutely.
So if he was guilty, they couldn't have proved it. And on top of it, I think that because SLED is so bad, that I don't think a lot of the people in that community trust what they do. So it's less that you have the smoking gun, it's going to be harder for them to find people guilty because in the back of their minds, which I'm not saying everybody's that way, but you kind of get this reputation, and then when you get people that go in to be jurors, that has to be on the back of their mind. So to get
Absolutely.
a clean jury pool, I don't think they thought about that.
Right. And I don't think probably everyone in SLED is bad, but it was they didn't put their best foot forward on the major case that we all saw come out of there. So
So we do have a little bit with Boone, but I don't know. I got to be honest. I don't know if you know my story. I started this as the jail widow because my husband
okay.
went to prison. No, I didn't know he was committing a crime. And when he went away, it was like he died. I had no help. Nobody could tell me how to do, what to do, when to do. Nothing. I had my spiritual parents, but they never gone through it either. And my spiritual father just so happened to be in Africa when we went to trial, and he
Oh
had the power
wow.
of attorney. So I learned a lot. And I thought, well, everybody told me you got to start something, and I said, well, jail widow, it's what I was. And I got all this equipment over about a year time. I'd catch things on sale. I only had one monitor though. I think that's the only thing I've added. Now I've got three, but did this very frugally but nicely. And long story short, I decided to figure out how to use all this. So I thought the best way to do it is watch a trial because I love watching. I've watched Emily D. Baker, R.A., all of them. I've been watching all of them. And so I thought, I'm going to stream a trial. And if I close, if it shuts down, if it blows up, nobody will know. And then all of a sudden, I had all these people watching. And I was like,
That's a scary feeling sometimes.
luckily, this woman used to be a performer and singer, so I can put on that performance mode and get through it. But it just happened. It was so organic. And I started signing. And if I know for sure there's a deaf person, I will start signing. That's why I'm always in black. People think I'm trying to be an Emily D. Baker. Y'all, I've been wearing black since 2013.
It's black. Who cares?
Got my little pupper tails in the background.
I see it. Yeah.
People always accusing me of dressing like her. I went, y'all, this has been my closet's been like this for almost 20 years, it seems like. But this grew organically. And I feel bad because I haven't done anything with the jail widow. I guess I better start doing something. But I started watching the trials and realizing that there's a lot of need for clarification. Not only what you're talking about as far as innocence and guilt, but there's a lot of misunderstanding about policy, procedures, and orders and how things flow and what the meaning of this is and the meaning of that is. And people think that just because you live in Virginia, your state laws do not match my state laws in Texas. And there's just a hi, Zach. Oh,
Hey, Zach.
hey, you're always invited. You're a mod. You know what? You should have gotten notified, dude. Love you. Yeah, he bailed on me again.
Zach.
So, and then I started seeing a community out there, and it just kind of blew up. Just kind of blew up. So I didn't go into this to do this.
Right. Well, I think your, signings. I've watched some of your trials where you and I can't remember
Again,
yes, are signing together or take, however you're doing it. And
it turns
it is,
and oh, your brain starts going.
I can imagine. Yeah. It's needed. So like my daughter, she probably hopefully won't care that I'm going to say this, but I don't know if she'll lose her hearing all the way, but she definitely has, as she's gotten older, she has some issues. And, she's facing some issues. So she doesn't know sign language yet. She can still hear, but it's harder in crowds. It's harder. Um, So she definitely has some
Hearing aids yet?
difficulties. I'm sorry?
Does she have hearing aids yet?
No, not yet.
Darlene, I'm going to recommend this to both of y'all. What state do you live in?
I'm in Indiana, she's in Texas.
Well, do you know what? Baby girl, you need to get a hold of me. I can get you free hearing aids, free iPad, or free cell phone. I'm a disability support specialist and a deaf support specialist. So, yeah, let's get her the hearing aids so that doesn't progress worse faster. The sooner you get them, the quicker you adjust to them. And then that way, if she does start to get going and declining worse, she at least is into the system with the state. And then, yeah, then I can teach her sign language. I teach her class once and starting again in January, once a week, and she can zoom in.
That would be awesome. She's, I know she's in chat, and there she is. Yep.
And seriously, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be because, and
The
Cheyenne.
hearing aids Bluetooth.
Okay. Yeah, I would appreciate that a lot.
Well, the thing is families need to understand it doesn't fix everything, but it does make some things easier. My Roadcaster Pro, you know what that is? That big switch thing with all the colorful buttons that RA has. I have that, and I don't have to wear plug-in ears. It Bluetooths to my hearing aids.
Nice.
I know, I love it. There's some advantages to being deaf. I have tinnitus. Yeah, it sucks.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. I will, those of you who want to learn starting in January, I'll create a Zoom and y'all can come into the class with me. I'll advertise it when we get closer. So, what have you, so tell me now, the reason why I went through that whole story is I don't know a lot of these cases that have been going around before 5 months ago because I wasn't really following like I am today. So I'm having a hard time choosing what's next. But that said, this case, the Delphi is a federal court, so nobody is able to
It's not
litigate
federal.
it, which I think sucks.
It's not federal.
It's not? It's
No.
state?
Yep.
Did they Okay, so they kicked out cameras? They said no cameras?
Let
Okay.
me give you some background on this. So
please.
Indiana, so I live in Indiana, so that's why like this has my attention. But so Indiana passed a law to allow cameras in the courtroom, finally. Not that it's done anything. Judge Gull, which is the judge on this in this trial, she was in the pilot program to see what her thoughts were about allowing cameras in the courtroom. Loved it. And then the first thing she does is she kicks him out when she gets this. And I was floored by it because I'm like, what is going on here? We've been dealing with this. This happened in 2017. These two girls go for a hike and don't come back. It was in February 13th, 2017. They had a day off of school. It was a nice day here. They went out to the trail system up where they live in Delphi, and horrible things happened to them. They didn't come back. So since 2017, we get, they're everywhere. When they didn't find them that night, I didn't have a good feeling. They found them the next day. Then there's like we get Bridge Guy because they say that Libby caught him on her cell phone. And then we get a sketch of Bridge Guy. And then we don't hear anything for a long time. For a while there's like updates every day. And I know there's not going to continue to be updates every day. I understand this. But then nothing happens. And a little bit down the line, we get a different sketch. So now there's two sketches out there. They're nothing alike. And So, are we looking for one person? Are we looking for two people? They're not really releasing any information to us. And then in 2022, they come out and they've arrested Richard Allen. And, you're like, okay. And you hope, it's been 5.5 years. You're hoping that, okay, they have their stuff. Like, they've got all the evidence. They have everything. This is the guy. And then as you start to watch things unfold and things are happening, and you can see the judge and the prosecutors are definitely working together. She had his attorneys now. She had them removed from the case. Another law firm appealed the decision to get them reinstated. And not only, I listened today that Bob Mata from Defense Diaries was talking on, he was on Andrea Burkhart's stream. And he was saying that, a lot of times when you get an appeal, it takes weeks or months or whatever to get that decision. No, they got that appeal and decided that day to reinstate these attorneys. It was so quick. Now,
Wow.
these attorneys have been trying to get this judge off of this, and obviously unsuccessfully. So I kind of just, when I saw what was happening, I just didn't like it. Like, I'm like, she's not going to show this. This is the biggest thing in our state to happen in a long time as far as something like this goes, and you're not even going to allow us to see how this goes, what evidence you have, and do you have the right guy? You're not going to allow us to. I don't need to see the girls. I don't need to hear, all the gory details, but I do want to see the evidence. Like, I want to make sure you have the right person. And when I saw that there was all these tricks and shenanigans and everything else being pulled on this guy, I kind of just turned away from it, because I thought, I don't want to watch this. And he was put in, he's not been convicted of anything. He was put in a prison for safekeeping. He was kept in solitary confinement for 13 months.
See, that's I heard that the other day and I almost blew a gasket.
Yeah.
How? He obviously couldn't bond out, which, okay. But
well, so
isn't
they
there a limit to the solitary confinement?
30 days, and they have to reevaluate, is my understanding. Carmen will probably correct me if I'm wrong on that. But they said because he was there for safekeeping, they didn't know if that applied to him.
Okay, let's talk about that. Is he there to protect him from the rest of the prison trying to unalive him? If so, now he can request that.
So my understanding is nothing had happened in the jail to say that he was under threat. The safekeeping order, and I got all this from listening, like I said, Bob Mata was talking about this today, and he said that Richard Allen wasn't even there when they did this whole safekeeping order to move him to the prison. He didn't have any attorneys, and he wasn't there. He had no say in it.
Okay, but I guess my question is sometimes, and this is just from personal experience with somebody who's been in prison and family, that based on what the crime that they're accused of, based on the personality of those in the groups of gangs and whatnots in that prison, based on potential threats that they may have found, say, in a shakedown of a cell block or dorm, depending on how it is, and then they find some kind of correspondence that targeting what's his name?
Richard Allen.
Richard Allen. I keep wanting to call him Richard Delphi. But anyway, there could have been, if they did have such, it should be in a record, and it should be something that can be found, a lawyer could subpoena. But if there was no threat and he didn't request, sometimes you can request personal protection, which means you're going to go into solitary confinement until they feel you're safe or whatever you feel, and you guys negotiate that for a period of time. But you said he was there 13 months. Did he make any formal requests to be released from the solitaire?
He had a mental breakdown. He did not do well. But so you got to think where he was arrested in Delphi, which is, I think, is Carroll County. That town is like 1,200 people.
Mm-hmm.
So he would have been held in the county jail.
Mm-hmm.
They moved him to a prison.
Why?
That's the question, for the quote unquote safekeeping. They took him to a.
Not good enough. You can't sit there and put safekeeping unless you have proof that his life was being threatened. So that right there to me is huge red flag. Once again, I just heard that the other day.
And according
breakdown
to what else I heard, the state was so worried about him, they never came to check on him. Not one time. Did the prosecutor or anybody ever come and check on him to see how he was doing, which I can tell you was not good. They were giving him Halidol against his will because he was not mentally, he didn't have the mental capacity to sign off to receive anything. So they were injecting him.
He wasn't on any of this prior to going in.
No.
So how long after he got in did they start dosing this meds?
I don't know the timeline on, because the doctor, or I'm not sure if doctor is his right title. I think one of the psychologists in there, he was one of the defense witnesses.
What?
Or no. He was one of the state rebuttal witnesses. I'm sorry. My brain is just on overload with all this information I've heard. And he laughed and I know, I'm sure it was a nervous laugh, but he just had a very weird, his testimony was very strange. Like he didn't really seem to see the problem with giving him this medication. And even in his own testimony, he said, well, he was better. He basically he was lucid, but they still injected him involuntarily. They never got his consent to keep giving him this Halidol, which is a really bad drug from what I have understood. So there's that.
I'm pretty okay. Halidol, and I pulled it up, is dosed to schizophrenics. This is medications used to treat certain mental mood disorders such as schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorders. I used to work at the state hospital, so saw a lot of that. It is also used to treat uncontrolled movement and outbursts of word sounds related to Tourette's, which is a tic type behavior. It's also used for hyperactive children for severe behavioral problems when other treatments or medications have not worked. This is heavy duty, stuff. And if he's not a diagnosed schizophrenic, well, for anxiety too, but if you don't have any of these diagnoses and you're giving somebody this meds, it's going to be a cluster bleep.
And it
he
was.
Went
he did. He they had a camera in his cell, so he was always on camera. The lights were never off. And he
Lights were never off?
never
That
off.
ah,
He didn't sleep for 9 days straight. That will also this was before any Halidol. So that's when he first gets there. He didn't sleep because well, I mean, I'm sure there was many, many
this is
reasons.
like concentration camps and torture.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how in the world can they prosecute him after what they've done to him?
I don't know.
Well, I think there needs to be an uprising. If this is all factual and true, there needs to be a lawyer that come up like for Sarah Boone can get an attorney to come up and do what they did for her. He needs to get somebody to fight this side of the battle.
I think if I understood Andrea Burkhart right, he does have a civil suit against the state.
You
As
think?
he should. As he should. But it so they played obviously, yes, I think that is correct, Future. And Dr. Walla, yep, was listening to the podcast. She even named Defense Diaries, who is sitting in the courtroom, as one of the YouTube channels and podcasts that she followed. She got fired because of
Who was
that.
she
And Defense Diaries, like she was following this case very much. So then that question comes in. Did she give him information about the case for one of his so-called confessions?
If he's been kept awake that long, if he's being treated, I mean, we can't even do this to military prisoners anymore.
Yeah.
What they're doing is the tactics that we used to use back in World War II, World War One, Korean War, Vietnam War, to criminals of war, putting them in a room, keeping the lights on, depriving them of all sensories except for that, keeping them in. I don't know what his clothes were, but if he was where he was, he probably had what I call the padded gown and nothing but that on. I mean,
It depends on if they had him on
they're
self-deletion
going to have him
watch.
on the self-harm watch
Yes.
for at least the first 2 or 3 days. That's typical. But when did they take him off of it?
I don't know. Because
I
I know
wonder
he would go back and off and on it again because of just from the testimony. Um, yeah. I mean, he
now
got to the
let's talk real quick. Court ordered is I worked in the state hospital, and there were times that we had to have court ordered medications because these patients would stop taking their meds or refuse to take the meds, and you can't force them to take the meds. But if it was a matter of their safety and the safety of everybody there, and they were there for like ever because of their crime, but they were incompetent to withstand trial, then yes, people can have court ordered meds. That's fine. But in his situation, in a jail, he should have been in jail. He's probably in prison by this time.
yes.
No.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of proof, a lot of documentation. I mean, there's this one guy, I was like, how soon can we get the court order? He was so bad when he would not take his meds or refuse. He refused them at 9 o'clock at night, and by 7 the next morning, it 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 was dangerous. I mean, seriously dangerous. People got hurt. So they got court ordered, but they had to prove a history and facts and provide a case. I mean, it's not something you can go do overnight.
Well, I will tell you one thing the lawyers have said about this case is that getting information is difficult to find. I don't know if anybody has the safekeeping order. I don't know if anybody has seen that yet. It has been really, really tough on attorneys, that I don't know if I'm always like, do you guys have special access to this stuff? And I think they probably do on some level, but just to get the simple stuff, she just made it very, very difficult to get any information. And that was the consensus between Andrea, Bob Mata, Lawyer Lee, and Bob Mata's wife today. That I haven't even been, I've through most of it, of them saying how non transparent this process has been, which makes everything even more suspicious. Because why are you hiding? If you have what you say you have, why are you hiding everything?
But my question is, why can we not get this stuff? We should be able to get some of this documentation. We have wonderful, what I call document fairies. And if you're not a part of our Discord, you should be. Because sometimes we get things before other people. You know how everybody has their little ways. But I'm going to ask our little fairies, because one of them is in the legal field, and see if they have any information that maybe they can get their hands on. But I'm just still kind of in shock and stuck at the fact he's kept for you said 9 days, 6 days,
9 days without sleep.
9 days with no sleep. How much food and water are they giving him? It's like the Geneva Convention. I mean, prisoners of war are getting treated better than this. And this is America?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, okay, look, I don't know if he did or didn't do it. I don't know enough about the case. And I try not to voice my opinion anyway until the end of the case. But even if he did do it, they can't do this.
Right.
Hi, Momo Shark. Hi,
Hey, Momo Shark.
People here. Do you know some of these people?
Momo Shark, obviously Gabby and Carmen. I don't know if Spawn's handler, Shy, is still in here. Zach.
Who doesn't know Zach?
I know.
Zach is like the dog. What is it called? The guy, the gigolo of YouTube. He goes from channel to channel. Zach, you're the gigolo of YouTube. I'm so sorry. I got to explain something real quick to get off the topic, and we'll get back on. Some people have commented about I have some sores around my mouth. I'm deadly allergic to the oranges, limes, and lemons and grapefruit. And even if you touch it and touch me, or if I touch a surface and touch me, eats my skin like acid.
Oh.
And I had gotten a glass that had a little bit. So please, I'm trying to hide it the best I can.
Yikes.
Go here, go on there.
Sounds
If
painful.
someone squeezes it and just a little mist hits me.
Really?
Yeah. So
Ow.
I'm very self-conscious, so I apologize if I'm trying to hide it. Zach said, ha ha. Zach, you got a new nickname. You're the YouTube gigolo.
Absolutely, Future. It's awful all the way around. Obviously, we didn't get to see the trial, so I have been
Still don't
watching.
have work, do we?
No. And you know,
today?
I'm sorry.
Did they work today?
No, but
Okay.
they are sequestered 2.5 hours away from home. They get to talk to their families, I believe, once a week, and then get visits. But the bailiffs are always there. So I'm like, you guys are kind of being treated just like prisoners too, which I understand. I understand.
I kind of wanted to say that. Oh, my son's being a jerk to somebody on text.
Oh,
I'm trying to hide all the blisters. Oh, we're having a good time here.
yes, and I hate that we haven't been able to see the evidence. I'm about. I'm not even halfway through the Frank's motion. Thanks, Zach.
Well, we do. Just so you know, I did put in the description your link to your page.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's the sad thing, is because I don't want anybody to think, because I'm talking about Richard Allen and all the bad things that have happened to him, that I have forgotten there are 2 girls that are gone forever. I have not. But if he is convicted and shouldn't be, that's not justice for them.
Hmm.
That's not justice for anybody. And so listening to this trial, I know, which would be really hard for me. It'd be really hard. Uh, there's no DNA. There was no DNA left on these girls. None.
Okay, how are they unalive? I literally know nothing about this case. So do me a favor. There's a lot of people who don't know anything about this case. So
Okay.
can you give us a timeline and be careful of the words?
I will be
Use
very careful of the
unalive,
words.
lead shooter, or lead.
Wasn't either one of the last 2 things you just said. Wasn't. It
Okay,
was, I always say pointy objects.
knife is fine.
Okay. So, well,
Well, that's what it was. There's a
they
lot.
don't know. So like I said, Abby and Libby went to the Monon High Bridge, and there's a, I'm not sure the name of that park there, but there's trails there. And then you have the Monon High Bridge, which is 65 feet high. It's an old train trestle. So they have fixed some of it now, but it was falling apart. Like, there's no way you would have could paid me enough money to get out on there, um, because it was rotting and falling through, and you had to watch where you were going. So they're out there, but it's a nice day, so they're not the only people that are out there. There's another group of girls that I believe they ran into. They either saw them. I don't. There were so many witnesses there, but so then you have another woman. She went hiking there every day. She supposedly saw Bridge Guy. Um, there was a couple out there that they supposedly saw Bridge Guy. Long story short, they don't return back when her dad comes to pick them up. When Libby's dad comes to pick them up, they call and call and call. No answer. They are searching for the girls. They finally call the police. There's a big search that night. So this is February, Indiana. There's no leaves on the trees. Supposedly, they came within 100 yards of where the girls were found the next day. Libby was found with no clothes on. Libby was a bigger girl, and I don't mean any disrespect by it at all. Libby and Richard Allen are the same height, 5'4". He's not a big he's not a big dude. She weighed 200 pounds. And
I could whoop his butt with my weight alone in my gut.
so keep that in mind. So we never had any details of the crime scene until court. Well, actually, until this Frank's motion came out, by the defense. But I'm just now getting into this Frank's motion. I know I'm behind on it, but it's blowing my mind, and I'll get there. So we never, for this whole time, didn't know how the girls were found. We didn't know how they were unalived. We didn't know, had they been essayed, had they, what had happened. We just knew they weren't here anymore. You figure if they're only arresting one guy, he probably did not use a knife. He's in the woods here in Indiana.
Both girls at the same time with one man.
Uh-huh.
And
Supposedly.
one is 200 pounds.
Yep. But they're both very athletic. So they're in softball. I believe Abby may have been in swimming as well, volleyball. They're
Even at 200 pounds, you can be athletic.
yeah, absolutely. So it's hard. Sorry, if I get off track, we're just pull me back because my
Right.
mind is going 1,000 miles an hour. So they disappeared on February 13th. They were found on February 14th. And that's, other than the sketches, that's kind of the end that we know, that
Where did the sketches come from?
the police, which I don't, so
No. Who witnessed him to give the sketches? Because the police can't just go in and say, oh, sketch this.
correct. So there was originally, and I don't have these pulled up and I apologize. There was 4 sketches. They're in my Discord. The first 2 kind of look alike. The last 2 are the only ones that we saw. And those are the ones that we had. Bridge guy first, which is the heavier guy in the hat. That's the sketch that was out there. And I don't know exactly who gave that sketch, because the eyewitnesses there and their statements at that time and their testimony don't exactly match today.
They're in your Discord.
They are under Abby and Libby in the Discord, in my Discord. They have their own tab.
Got it.
Gabby, is that up towards the top?
I'm going to share screen.
Okay. So, guy top left, if I'm not backwards, because I get backwards sometimes when I'm looking at my monitor. The one that looks like he has a mask across the bottom of his face. That guy. We never saw that sketch. The guy next to him, we never saw that sketch. The one we see is the one bottom left. That's the main one that was out there for forever. That's Bridge Guy. The other one bottom right is the one that came out. I can't remember if that was a year later or if it wasn't quite a year later. There was a lot of time in between. So,
let me do this. Might be easier for me to do it this way. What I'm confused about, that's a lot of different sketches, y'all.
yeah. And if I couldn't read them. If you look on those sketches, it'll
I'm
say,
gonna try and pull them up. I think I saved them under screenshot. I tried to download them real quickly. Oops, not there. Let me see if it's saved to the desktop.
yes, ADH,
That's so much.
Jelly Bean. Those are all police sketches.
But here it is. Who? There we go. I think this will be easier for me to share with y'all. Let me get it in here. And biggin. Come on. Why are you being so sensitive? There. Now I can share it. I was trying to get it bigger so we can see it better. There we go.
And Dr. Bullbutter, if I get something messed up, please correct me and I will not be offended, because I've got so much information in my head about this that I've been trying to soak in and retain, and it's like I've said 100 times, my mind is just everywhere. So top left is
Riley sketch, Senior Bridge, approximately 1:26 p.m.
She, I believe, is a high school aged girl that was there with either 3 of her friends or 4 of her friends. Or it was her and either 3 other people, or her and 2 other people.
Okay.
And then Teresa sketch.
Teresa sketch, Senior Bridge at 8:30 in the morning.
That one I'm drawing a blank on.
Yeah, they don't look like they're made by police. This one does. Sarah Sketch, seen on road approximately 3:57 p.m.
So I believe that is Sarah Carbaugh. And I have, let me get a second. So there was some stuff that went on with those guys, those women's testimony. And I probably don't have it right here handy. But the guy that's Sheriff Liggett now was not Sheriff Liggett then. He was a deputy. He was up for election when Richard Allen was arrested 26 days before the election of the Delphi sheriff. So you also have that. Gabby, that one top right reminds me of the one on the news that was like so bad that we were laughing at.
Well, and this one, Betsy Sketch, bridge about 2. So you have Riley and Betsy between 1:26 and 2 p.m. Then you have Sarah Sketch at almost 4 p.m. And then at 8:30 a.m. you have Teresa Sketch.
And I believe Betsy Blair is the bottom one and Sarah Carbaugh is the
bottom left.
Bottom left. And I cannot find, basically the defense accuses Sheriff Liggett, then deputy, of hiding or concealing their description of things because it absolutely blows up his timeline of when he says these unalivings took place.
Wow.
So one of them, and I can't remember, they've changed their testimony a lot. One of them more than the other. One of them said that she saw a man walking down the road covered in mud and blood, like he had been in a fight or fell off a cliff. Did she call the police? No. Did she stop to help? No. Don't blame her there. She's a woman. It's a man. Don't blame you. But you can't call the police to say, like, hey, there's some guy that's walking down the road. He looks like he's been injured. But she doesn't ever mention blood in her initial interview with the police.
Okay.
That changes and gets added in over time. It's just mud. He's just muddy.
See, I don't trust that kind of testimony if it continues to evolve like that.
Yeah. And it has.
Jury, I wouldn't believe it.
The car, and she didn't snap a pic, of course.
I snap pics of I mean, come on, everybody has a phone.
Absolutely. That's why I'm saying she could have at least called the police and said, hey, you need to come check on this guy walking down the road. I don't want to check on him. I don't blame her. Like, I would never say to a woman stop and check on a guy. Like, I never would say that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the description, which I can understand, was some of the girls said he was in all black. Some of them said he was in a windbreaker. Some of them said he was in none of their descriptions of which I get this happens too all the time. They're not really paying attention to who's on the trail. They just remembered, now we were out there, we saw this guy. So none of them describe him the same at that initial time.
It wouldn't necessarily be the same, but it would be this, what I call similarity. Hoodie, everybody would say hoodie.
Yeah.
Dark gray, black, dark blue. Hard to tell at night. Dark green. Okay, I wouldn't worry too much about that. If he had white tennis shoes on, they're all going to say white tennis shoes. Do they know what brand, make, and model? No. They might vary a little bit on the height based on their perspective and weight a little bit, but it's going to be within a parameter. And I don't know, I'm studying for criminal justice degree with a focus on law. And I'm learning about this. about how people look and perceive people in times of situations just as this. You're going to have some variant, but it's still going to be on the spectrum. It was a hoodie, whether it was up or down, they're going to know if the hoodie's up or if it's down.
But so I don't know if you know what a Carhartt coat is. And hey, Tracy, I had to say hello to Tracy. To see a Carhartt coat and a windbreaker to me would not be the same thing.
No, that would not be the same thing.
No. So
Wait, you're first responder, though. I'm a doc. We're different. Are you a doctor? Sometimes I just digress. Anyway.
So even in their original descriptions, they
Go ahead.
varied.
My bad.
That's okay. Which I understand to, like you said, to a certain degree. But then it's like even his hat, which you can see is very specific in that drawing of the hat that he had on. Some just said he had a skull cap on. Some said he had blonde hair sticking out of the bottom of it. Some said, it was not ever really the same thing. And they put him about 5'10", which is a lot different than 5'4". And especially for that, to me, and I can't think of the proper name of the hat, is like what a golfer would wear.
Yeah, that's an English-British. English to British type. I can't remember. Real quick before I forget this. So, Dr. Bullbutter, have I ever been wrong on anything medical? Let me know. I don't claim to be a doctor, but I'm a little bit better than Joe Blow. Now I'm all embarrassed. I hope I haven't said the wrong thing. If I have, I apologize.
A dare, I don't know what that means.
What?
AJ, there must be jurors that hold out like you. Oh, a dare. He and I don't see eye to eye all the time.
3 pictures, and I'm trying to find anything in similarity. And this is like, what was it? Was it the Jeffrey Dahmer case or whatever case where they had like 30 different sketches and nobody, could be pediatric meds too. Pediatric medicine.
You mean for his height?
No, Dr. Bullbutter. She said DPM. It could be Doctor of Pediatric Medicine. So which is it? And please, I give you permission to correct me when I'm wrong, if I've been wrong. But I'm looking at these pictures. First of all, the noses are two total. I mean, picture number 1, which is the left upper Riley sketch. I couldn't tell you that. What's the deal with, I guess, the shadow from the hood?
I guess because...
Okay, you're a podiatrist. I need to talk to you. Anyway.
Because at first I thought it was a mask, and I was like, this is in 2017. There weren't people walking around in masks. So, yeah. So then shadow, because I could see his lips under there. But
whoever the artist is for Riley's is a police officer. And number 1 and 2, y'all suck. That's not too bad on this one. It just, they're too different from me. If all 4 of them saw the same person and it was the person in prison, so which one of these does he look most like?
I don't think he looks like any of them. In fact, the state fought and filed a motion to keep him out. They didn't want them in court, and they won. They did not have to show these sketches in court. The sketches that we, as citizens of this county, had to go by, or of the state, not county. This is what we were fed for 5.5 years. This is what it looks like. And then the state says, no, we don't want to show them. And they didn't have to. They weren't allowed in.
Wait a minute. That to me is wrong. Why
Absolutely.
are you not able? Here, I'm going to share this screen. I'm just popping up a picture of him. Y'all don't need that. Let me scroll it down. Add to stage. Now, this guy in the blue jacket, this is the guy here on the lower left, the one with the English golfer cap.
Yes.
But even the jacket that's in that image and the jacket that's drawn looks more like a hoodie with the hood down versus what you see here. But if I had to find any of them, he's closest to the bottom left.
He would be closest to the bottom left. But
the eyes are too, I mean, well, it's perspective, but
yeah,
did he have the goatee and that weight back then?
he had the weight. I don't think he changed his appearance. Like, he didn't go through any big appearance change. So I would say yes. Because he went on, lives in this town of 1,200 people, works at CVS. So he's in front of the community all the time. And for 5.5 years, he doesn't sell his house. He doesn't sell his car. He doesn't sell anything. Like, he doesn't get rid of anything. He doesn't change his appearance. He just goes on with his life. People are interacting with him every day for 5.5 years, and nobody's going, hey, that's the guy. That's the guy I saw. Nobody's saying that.
So he's supposed to have unalived a 200-pound strong, muscular 200-pound woman and another athlete, both together at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All by himself.
Yes.
Did not have any injuries. Did they have DNA under their nails? Did they do any of that?
There was 0 DNA left on them. His DNA was not found on them. Nobody's DNA was found on them.
I'm sorry, I'm munching. I haven't had dinner.
No, you're fine. It blew my mind because I don't even think he has a criminal background. So the first time he comes out to the trails, sees these young girls. Supposedly he has what Haley Mouse said.
We call them lead shooters.
That'll work. Gets them then to go down the hill, which is the audio that's from Libby's phone that she took. It's a 43-second video, which we were led all this time to believe that there was more video on that phone that was going to really tell us who did this. But it was a 43-second video. You can't see who, clearly, you can't see like the person that is in the man in the video clearly, but from what Andrea Burkhart said, when you hear down the hill, his mouth doesn't move. So who else is there? Because his mouth does not move. So for a long time, we had that sketch. We had the words down the hill. Then when they released the new sketch, we got the word guys down the hill, which I guess was supposed to break the case wide open. So, and then even though with the audio enhanced and everything else that they tried to do, from my understanding, you cannot understand what Abby says. The state just says that she says there's a lead shooter, and then you hear it rack. They found an unspent round underneath. They're at the scene in the dirt that they said belonged to his lead shooter. there's a lot of issues with this. One, if he racked it thin at the bridge, it would have ejected the cartridge or the round at the bridge. That's why it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? And the only way they quote unquote matched it was by firing it through his weapon. So they matched a fired round to an unfired round. And it's like, yeah, we have a match.
This girl knows her lead shooters. I just got a new one yesterday.
Nice.
My first.
Oh, nice.
I'm out geocaching a lot. I'm going to start camping a lot. I need something for snakes.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have snake shots in that one. But you're telling me they found an unspent cartridge and they're saying they matched it to his lead shooter?
By
Because they fired it through the lead shooter.
the lead shooter.
God almighty. I would
Just
be
how bad it is.
freaking crazy because I don't understand this. Who in their right mind would believe that crap?
I don't know. I don't know. That's how crazy this has all been.
Are they related to Sledge?
I'm thinking they might be.
My bad.
So they have that.
Mary.
Let
God,
me make
these stores,
sure.
I can't hide them. I can't hide them.
You know what? They're really not. Until you were like, "Hey, they're right here." I didn't even see them.
So horrible on here.
You're more aware of them.
You
Yeah.
notice our screen switched? Because for me to be looking like I'm looking at the camera, you have to be here. I'm over here. I switched this so I couldn't see myself as much.
And I'm probably looking backwards because I'm always looking in the wrong direction of the people that I'm talking to. So, because I'll look at chat and then I'm like never looking because I'm looking at you, but you're probably actually over here on my screen on, you know, how it flips everything around. So if I'm not looking at you, I apologize.
No, I have 3 screens and getting ready to add more. But sometimes I'm like,
I've just kind of been looking straight ahead, like, okay, then I'm just looking at somebody. So
yeah, you can see them, guys. Look.
but you really seriously had to point them out.
And they're also,
I figured they're hurting.
it does. They're not comfortable. So I pin it. How do you say that?
Oh, my stomach. Sorry.
Fantastics? I'm my dyslexia can't handle things I don't know.
I'm horrible at names.
Or legal cat Chi-town. We have a legal cat mom too.
Nice.
So you're telling me that they're so they spent the casing they found on the ground that had not been spent through his weapon?
No, I don't think they spent that one. I think when they went to his home, and so he had a 6 hour was
Thank you, Sneaky.
6 hour P226. I'm not probably saying those right.
A 6 hour?
Yeah.
P26.
Which is very popular there. Well, you better be careful. Don't go to Delphi.
That's my friend. I call her Sally. I tell my kids if I tell you I'm getting Sally, I told them when they were young because I've been licensed forever. And I said if I tell you I'm getting Sally, that means you get your butt down because this is coming out.
Well, don't go to Delphi. Because there's a lot of those up there in that area. And, you know, he didn't sell if he had that with him that day, which he says he did not.
He would have gotten rid of it.
He would have gotten rid of it, and he didn't.
It's like chunk it in the middle of a lake somewhere. Go to the ocean for vacay and chunk it.
I mean, he had 5.5 years to get rid of it, and he didn't. I mean, come on.
Well, but they do like their trophies. People who do commit these. Thank you so much, Marie. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, I would be curious to know on what in court. That's what I always say. What evidence in court that makes him guilty? He did have so-called 61 confessions, but he was also going through a psychotic break where
And
he
he
would
was on psychotic meds that he wasn't on prior to going to jail.
and he was telling he did tell his wife at one point, I will tell them what they want to if this becomes too much for you, I will tell them what they want to know. Like, and he had told when he went in for his um interrogation, he told them, like, leave my wife and daughter out of this. And he went in right after everything happened because he heard about it and said, like, I was there that day. He went and talked to the police on his own and said I was there.
So he said he was there?
Yeah, he wasn't hiding anything. He was like, I was there that day, just like all the four
How was
witnesses.
he there and he didn't know they were there?
He said he saw the group of 3 or 4 that he saw them, but he didn't see Abby and Libby. So
my question is, if you are looking at him, what about those 4 people that gave you the drawing? My thing is, one of them could have been a part of it, and they saw him there, and they're pinning him on it.
So there were 2 hairs found at the crime scene that were female hairs that they did not get tested. And I believe probably because they weren't, and I don't know, this is guessing, that they weren't looking for female perpetrators. However, 1, you could have a female perpetrator, and 2, those female hairs could connect you to who was there. My hair is all over the place all the time. I'm sure you understand. It's long, so it's everywhere.
Down my butt.
Like my husband probably can't walk out the door without he would have a hair on him from me.
Well, but here's the other thing. A woman could get closer to them to get stabs in far easier than a man could.
Yeah, absolutely. Tracy, the one that was in her hand was her sister's. They're just now testing that one. They've had it all this time, but they didn't test it.
So this is like an outdoor park.
It's a wooded area, a very wooded area.
My hair's tied up, but all I have to do is this, and look, I've already got 4 or 5 of them. It kind of scared me.
Yeah, me too. I understand. Like,
I've had chemo 3 times and lost my hair twice. Anytime my hair starts falling, I'm panicked. Well, but now let's think about this. Let's do something that they didn't do. Let's be logical. You have hairs. Doesn't care. I don't care if it's male or female. You test them. And then I would test them against the people that gave us the drawings to rule them out as a person involved. Could have been 3 or 4 women against those 2. I'm just saying women can get closer to other women a whole lot easier than a man, especially a strange man. I'm not anymore, but for the longest time, a woman can come up to me and I wouldn't be fearful. I wouldn't be uncomfortable. After you live on the south side of San Antonio in the barrios, everybody can harm you. And I'm not saying that to be mean, but it's true. Especially with a white woman in a part of town that most white women aren't. And I was real little, but I'm just perplexed at the lack of processing the evidence.
Oh, there's yes, and
Last
Momo Shark.
interviews?
There's a ton of lost interviews, all from the beginning of the investigation. Those got rewritten over, or they're lost. They're gone.
Interviews of him?
Of the well, we don't know because they didn't have a list of the people that they interviewed at the beginning. So I'm not sure
How did
exactly who.
they get this far in the system?
I don't know. I think honestly, they just want it to be closed. It's a black eye on our state, and they want it to be done.
Hi, Tracy Dane. How are you? Welcome. You're new to our channel. Is Tracy one of yours?
Yes.
Nice to see you. Thank you for hopping in. I didn't follow the trial. Weren't they supposed to meet someone there? Did anyone come forward on that?
I think it was Kagan Klein, if that's what I'm thinking right. Is that right, Carmen? He is in prison for child bad pictures.
Inappropriate photos of children.
That's yeah. Yes, I think with that they would. However, he had to unalive one, keep the other one there, not screaming. There was no evidence of them being bound by anything, so there was no evidence of them being tied up.
Anyway, these girls were placed there after the fact.
Oh, I think absolutely, 100% were placed there later.
Strategically and logically doesn't make sense. If I'm on the jury, I'm going, Now, mind you, we know a little more about this stuff than the common folk who's not watching. And I would love for a jury, it would suck for them to sit there and say, so how much court TV do you watch? I don't sit and just watch court TV.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask me, how much do you sit and watch? I'm going to say, I don't sit and watch. I commentate.
So Dr. Bullbetter,
Libby bled there.
Libby did.
Huh?
She did bleed out there. But how does a 5'4" man move a 5'4", 200-pound dead weight girl
By himself?
By himself, no drag marks. There's no evidence of drag marks there. One of the officers wanted to say they're lightly. You can kind of see them in one of the photos. I'm like, you won't. It's woods. There's leaves all over the ground. You drag somebody through that, you're going to leave a trail.
Well, as Dr. Bullbutter knows, lead shooter wounds don't always bleed a whole lot externally.
But it wasn't that. It was
sometimes other wounds, a puncture wound doesn't always bleed a whole lot externally, especially if you're as fat like me and you don't hit a major organ. But I'm not saying that. I'm going off topic. But my thing is, what were they wearing? What time of year was it? I've seen I have been on a scene where a person was unalived by a puncture, and they were placed there. But as soon as the puncturing happened, they were wrapped up, transported, and dumped. And as we know, when you're unalive, the blood isn't moving anymore, so it pulls to the lowest part of the extremities. It wasn't until they were out of the back of the truck and rolled face down that all of that blood moved and then bled out. Does that make sense?
Yes. And to Dr. Bullbetter,
I'm not a doctor.
The amount of blood that was there from Abby
said they were placed there
does not add up to the same amount of blood that there was from Libby. And Abby's clean.
Abby's clean?
She has one wound but she is wearing Libby's clothes.
Wait. Abby has one wound. Was it the carotid?
I believe so on her. I'll have to
And
look
she
again.
has Libby's clothes on?
She has Libby's clothes on, but from what Andrea described, the only blood on her is up here and it goes up. The blood flow is not down as gravity would. And her arms are up, her hands are clean, and there wasn't any blood found on her when they took the clothes off of her.
Okay, Dr. Bullbutter, I hope I didn't offend you. I'm just going by what I have seen on scenes personally in a live situation. But this is perplexing. If she was unalived there, where's the blood? Her body's too clean. If you hit the carotid, it ain't gonna be clean.
Yeah. So there's a big part of this that the jurors did not get to see, and that's what I've been reading in the Frank's motion today, that the state was trying to get in the third party culprit. But because of what it had to deal with, they did not. I'm just talking dead weight is different than, and I don't know if you're talking dead weight. Dead weight is very different than if somebody is living.
But what was his physical condition? Some guys, they couldn't lift a tire to put it on a car. Some guys just,
Yeah.
I mean, I love my son. He's a 6'5" man. And if he had to lift me like alive in this kind of situation, like if I fell, he could do it. But I don't think he could lift me dead weight.
It's different.
Yes, Gabby, it would.
And Libby's.
See, here's another thing. This takes a lot of time. If you unalive somebody and then you remove their clothing and you bathe them and then put somebody else's clothing on them, first of all, where's your water source? Was there water right there? Was there a hose?
There's a creek down there. There's a creek.
You would
by
find
the area
evidence of the red stuff on the ground on the edge of the creek or right there where the creek was. I don't understand that. Why did they not check the creek, or did they?
They did, because some of their clothes were actually found in the creek. Well, Abby's clothes, I guess, were found in the creek. And a shoe.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. Yes, and the clothes were wet.
Okay, but my thing is that all of this takes time. So somebody had walked past what all this is going on, and obviously it's like a walking trail or something. People are allegedly nearby.
Yes. So and how there's people that actually live out there too. So there's houses around. He did not, they were, the way that the cuts were made, they would have still been able to scream, from what I understand, that this wasn't. Libby had more on her, cuts on her. Abby just had the one. I don't know, Momo. I don't know. The craziest
I take
thing,
time.
she said, take the time. She
Time.
corrected down. Yeah.
Oh, there
Um,
it is. See, this is what's perplexing me about this case is, number one, how long would it take once deceased to do what he did, or whoever it was? How do you keep one quiet while the other one is being unalived? If I was with my friend, as much as I love my sister, but if she was gone, I'm running, and she would want me to.
mhm.
Who's going to sit there and watch somebody unalive somebody and say, "Okay, take me"?
And I don't have an answer for that because I think
Oh,
people
no.
react differently in different situations. I believe so,
Yeah,
Adair.
but let's be realistic. What are we taught from day one as little girls? Scream like a mad dog.
Uh,
So this was it, and it was daytime in February. That's even more. That's why I wanted to know what time of the year it was. So there's no leaves on the tree.
No leaves on the trees.
So they could visibly see that wooded area from there.
His confessions, though, they're just, he's like, he would say, I did it. I think I did it. I might have done it. Like, he would say things like that, but then he might follow the next line might be, but I'm losing my mind. Or it was, it was to me, and hearing the videos, like hearing the description of the videos of him walking around his cell without any clothes on. I forget what song he was singing.
But they had him naked.
He, I think, was naked. And yeah, the van, supposedly the van spooked him, and he did all, that's why he just decided to unalive them. And in the best way, no DNA. Like, he was super clean about it. That's what I can't get past. All right, see you, Carmen. Bye, Shy.
I didn't mean to keep you away from your partner.
Oh, she's fine. They've both been in chat. They've
I'm
both been in chat.
Night night, love. The solitary confinement is confusing. There are people who've done far worse than this guy, and they weren't treated that way.
Yeah. So, like, Dr. Bullbetter won't get over his confessions. I won't get over his breakdown of what you see in solitary confinement. He is a shell of a man that you see in that mugshot. The next time we saw him, he was a little tiny man. He weighed nothing. Like, he had lost, I don't even know how much weight. There was nothing to him. And the stories that you, like, him, well, they didn't find DNA. That's they should have, I mean, dude,
Well,
they've got to do what they need to do their job. We've seen less and have DNA. There is no DNA linking him to that scene. So if there's DNA and they didn't find it, there's still no DNA linking him to that scene.
well, he could have, on his end, could have had gloves. But the thing is you got two women, 20 fingers. If you're touching and grabbing and stabbing and washing and bathing and doing, I would think there'd be DNA. Unless he, now I have known a long time ago, this guy, I don't remember who it was, unalived people in his basement. And then before he would bathe them and everything, he clipped the fingernails and cleaned under the fingernails. But he didn't have this time to do that. This guy was in a private place. Nobody was going to disturb him. But you're out in the woods next to a creek. I can't imagine him taking the time to do that. The unaliving happened.
So there's a
Water.
okay, well, let me ask you this. How does a 5'4" man keep control over two girls crossing that creek that at the time was 3.5 feet deep? So, and it's cold, and they're fully dressed going across the creek so they can go to the other side, go up the hill to the spot where he unalives them. There's no way he could maintain control.
So let's see, Dr. Bullbutter, you're saying the unalive happening through body of water out in the woods. I'm a scientist. Are you kidding? I'd love for you to come on and actually talk about this. I want to hear your viewpoint on this. But are you saying that there wouldn't be any DNA because they went through a body of water? Am I reading that correctly? He had a lead shooter, but they were punctured. So if he had a lead shooter and they were punctured, partly, I'm talking about the women, underneath their fingernails. Usually and I'm not a scientist, so I'm just thinking in my own little pea brain. It's hard to wash unless you really wash your hands good, like medical people know how to do, and all that. Most people just do this. You can still have the DNA under the fingernails unless he removed them.
Well, I believe it was Abby, and I could have that wrong, that chewed her nails so bad that there wasn't anywhere to get anything underneath. Libby's, like I said, and Abby's hands were clean. Libby's hands were covered in blood. So it's very strange. It's very strange.
One was uncleaned and one was clean.
Yes.
So did he run out of time and get scared off and didn't finish?
I don't know.
Why would you clean them? You've unalived them. This is a highly public place. Why would you risk staying there to clean them?
I don't know.
I mean, that's rhetorical.
I don't know. And all of this happened supposedly, I think they said, I've heard different times thrown out. I've heard 7 minutes. I've heard an hour. I've heard an hour and 7 minutes. So
you know what, Tracy, you're correct with that. It's a fast action. That's not what concerns me. It's the unclothed, bathing, cleaning, reclothing. That part of it just doesn't set with me. That would have to take time.
yeah. I guess for me, that's a big place to start when you have zero criminal past. That's a big place to start, is with 2 victims. When you've never done, at least we haven't heard of anything that he's ever done before. And then you take 2 at the same time. That's just, it's just a big place to start. So, yeah, and he did all of it in broad daylight. So I probably might make Dr. Bullbutter's head explode when I say this. And I don't mean to, because this is not allowed in court, and it's the third party culprit. These people have more evidence against them than he does against him. But they are not allowed to bring it up. They are not allowed to bring it in. And
I think
I think it's because it I think it's because it's a out there you're usually, and I'm usually the pro defense person.
I'm in between.
We could have fun. We could have fun.
We all could have fun, the three of us, but I can see if it was just the puncturing of them and he walks away and they bleed out and pass out and die right there, then I would be a whole lot more, he could have easily done this, right? But what stumps me is the disclothing, the cleaning, and the redressing. That takes time.
And they were posed.
And see, that's new. I didn't hear you say that earlier.
I probably didn't have a chance.
Time.
So they were posed, and then there is and I have a feeling Dr. Bullbutter is going to disagree with me on this. Attempt to conceal. The concealment was a few branches, but they were very, they were placed in specific ways, and one branch was clean cut on the end of it. So you don't just find a clean cut branch out in the woods randomly. At least you generally don't. And I probably wouldn't find one where I need it when I needed it to. But he didn't. They weren't. They weren't even covered up. There was tons of leaves out there. If he really wanted to cover them up and conceal them, he could have. These branches were in no way placed on them to cover them up. They were so, and that goes to the third party culprit of people are saying this was a ritualistic unaliving.
It's starting to me to sound that. I mean, seriously, it is. Because
and sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm just pulling up images of the girls. One looks how old were they?
I think 13 and 14.
Dang,
super
they
young.
were young.
Super young.
I'm looking at the area. You know what I mean? The wooded area. The tracks. See, once again, everything to me goes down to if it was just an unaliving, period, jabs, punctures, walk away, then I wouldn't be anywhere near as, But I'm looking at a picture from a news broadcast. I might just go ahead and share this. Let me get to the close ad. Let me share this because you can see the terrain.
I knew you wouldn't agree, Dr. Bullbutter.
We all become investigators because we have that desire and that urge, to catch the bad guys, put them away, make sure that there is justice for the good guys.
Delphi murders. Yesterday, Indiana State Police unveiled new pictures and even audio in the 2017 murders of Abby Williams and Libby German.
Our crime beat reporter Steve Jefferson talked with those former investigators about where this case may be going. Steve?
The former investigators we talked to about the Delphi case are curious about the new information, especially the new sketch in the case.
The new face of the Delphi murder case quickly got the attention of former homicide detective Robert Snow, who talked to Eyewitness News by telephone.
I couldn't help but wonder if this was actually an accomplice, perhaps, in the crime. That maybe the state police found out there was another person involved simply because the two sketches are so different.
On the afternoon of February 14, 2017, someone found the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German near the Delphi Historic Trail close to the High Bridge. State police are just now releasing video of the suspect, hoping someone recognizes his walk. They have also released additional audio of the suspect directing the girls, hoping it sounds familiar to someone at home.
You're talking about 2 young girls.
Eyewitness News also talked with former Special Op FBI agent Kathy Guider, who now runs her own investigation company called Veracity. She is not surprised about the new information.
Investigators tend to hold some of the cards close to their chest, so to speak, so that when things unfold throughout the investigation, all the information is not out there.
Guider believes finding who killed Abby and Libby will happen with the public's help, and so does Robert Snow.
The police really need the public's help in solving crimes. We really do. You really can't solve a lot of crimes on public's help.
Even with the new sketch released in this case, former investigators say there's still information being held back until the suspect is caught. On the Crime Beat, I'm Steve Jefferson.
State police tell us new tips started pouring in immediately after that news conference ended yesterday. So far, they've received more than 800 email tips and 150 others via the hotline. Another 50 tips came in through direct calls to the investigating agencies. Now, if you have a tip tonight, send it to the email address that you see here on your screen. Police are urging people to make sure those emails actually contain specifics, not just a name or a phone number to call. We've got all this info for you tonight on WTHR.com/Delphi.
Wow. Okay. Don't need it anymore. Thank you very much.
You want to know what the best nurse shoe was?
Huh?
If there was an ad for the best nurse shoe. I'm like, I don't.
Whoa, wait a minute. This is. Are those red lines the sticks?
I can't. Are you looking at the drawing, like the Court TV graphic?
That.
Yeah. Haley, I couldn't see what the shoes were, Haley.
Yeah, Dr. Bullbutter, I don't disagree with you in a lot of things, but I don't really agree to disagree with anybody at this point, but it just perplexes me the amount of time it would take for him to do this. To not only unalive them in a way that nobody could hear. Now, the only way you can do that is vocal cord.
And those weren't cut, from my understanding. Yeah.
And then to bathe them, or one, undress both, redress one with the wrong clothes, and then lay these sticks. Do we know what any of these shapes stand for?
Well, I'm really trying to not make Dr. Bullbutter's head explode.
Dr. Bullbutter, is your head going to explode?
I really. Yeah, I just have to disagree on the last part because the solitary confinement has its limits and it's 30 days and they did not do that.
Months?
That they didn't follow that.
Well, the thing is that even we have to separate the two. Okay, let's separate the two because he could have unalived him, but what they did to him in prison and the way they got the confessions and everything, I just want to separate that out. The treatment he received in solitary confinement and all that, it's bad. It shouldn't have happened, and he may have legal recourse. But just talking about the crime itself, I'm trying to keep the jail and the prison stuff separate. Just trying to keep focus on the crime itself. Only thing I'm struggling with is the time frame. That's where I'm struggling because I'm looking at this. This takes time to unalive, bathe one, strip them both down, put clothes on another one, and do the artwork.
Well, and also
try to keep it.
Somebody was saying in order to dress Abby after that you would need to wait till things dried. Otherwise she would have blood on her body, and she doesn't. And she didn't.
Tracy, you're right about the
You're correct.
Play games with you, and they're war criminals. I mean, war prisoners of war who who confessed to things that they were halfway across the country when it happened. But just to get the abuse to stop and get out of there they would say anything. So that's torture. That's why I'm trying to keep it separate. I'm just looking on the women, how they were laid, what happened to the women, that time frame with them. No, I'm not talking about after the fact with he's being questioned and all of that. So it's kind of hard. So let's go ahead. Is there anything else about the women that we need to discuss? Because I do want to turn to the situation with the confessions. I don't know anything about it. I want you to kind of update me on what were the confessions, how many times, yada, yada.
He supposedly confessed 61 times. But
why would they make him confess 61? If he confessed once or twice, that's it. Why do you keep confessing?
I don't. I can't find my notes on that one. Because that was early on in the trial. Dr. Bullbutter's like, I'm coming for you.
It's just kind of like
you would ask me the question.
You don't need 61 confessions for a court of law.
Yeah. It does include him talking to his mom and his wife. He was not, I think he was allowed 2 in-person visits with his wife, who that is like his person. And they were allowed like 2 in-person visits because he was eventually moved to Wabash prison, which is it's in the southern part of the state. So it's even further away.
Haley Mouse, who are y'all talking about watching?
Yes, he did also confess to unaliving his wife and daughter, who are very much alive, and also confessed to molesting his daughter, who got on the stand and said never happened. There was a lot
touching daughter.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, that never happened. There was things in his confessions. You're right, Future. Thank you for that, because that he did not do. Yeah, I watch her on 1.25 speed too.
Who is that?
Andrea Burkhart. She's a defense attorney out of Washington State. I've watched her because for me, she takes really good notes on everything that's happening. She's at the trial. Defense Diaries is at the trial. Lawyer Lee is at the trial.
I guess I need to watch her when I'm trying to fall asleep and I can't.
Probably. Her voice is kind of soothing. She's very thorough. Absolutely. She would fill like legal pads every day, or a legal pad on a day, and then have to borrow paper.
Y'all, I like you, Dr. Bullbutter. You don't pull punches.
That's funny.
Well, I'm going to be trying to follow the one here in San Antonio where the guy is being charged with unaliving his wife, where he had the police were searching the oh gosh, what is it called? The city dump. And she still has not been found.
Yeah, that if she's there, she probably won't be found.
No, and I live about an hour and 15 to 30 minutes away, so I can drive there every day for court when he goes to trial.
Awesome.
I used to drive to college every day, back and forth, so I can handle that.
You say he's in San Antonio?
That case is in San Antonio. I'm north of San Antonio, about an hour and a half.
Maybe he'll be in Judge Boyd's courtroom. Although I don't like how she shows
Got
trials.
to figure out when and how. I'm going to go off screen for a sec, but I can still hear you.
Okay. um. Yeah, I got thrown off on the confessions. The Stephen Avery trial. This might surprise you, Dr. Bullbutter, but I kind of lean towards Stephen Avery is guilty there. Even after watching the Netflix thing, and I actually don't watch Netflix stuff anymore because they tell it how they want to tell it, and then you watch somebody tell the other side of it, and it's like, holy cow.
Wait. Is your daughter near Livingston?
In Livingston, yeah.
My mother lives in Livingston.
No kidding.
And I go to powwow over there.
Yeah, that's where she lives.
Oh my gosh. I've been driving to Livingston since 1990.
That's crazy.
Driving in my sleep.
She has been there just. I
North
don't know.
San Antonio, 1 hour. Beautiful hill country. Yeah. Come visit me, Carmen.
Yeah. She's been there she's moved there about just over a year ago.
Why Livingston? Mary?
No.
Why Livingston?
She has wanted to live in Texas her entire life. Growing up, her room was Texas Longhorn orange. I'm like, why do you want to live to some
car was that color?
She had never even been there. And that's just where she wanted to be, and she finally's there. She loves it.
Well, you ought to come to the Texas Hill Country during the spring and summer. We have a lot of rivers and stuff, and I go camp. I'm going to start camping a lot.
I just told Carmen, like, everything there wants to unalive you.
Like what?
She had, because of the flooding that they had early in the spring, I think it disrupted like rattlesnakes and the cotton. Yeah. So she had to have, I think, 3 rattlesnakes removed from her yard. And then
that's what lead shooters for.
You can't do that there. Those are protected and you will get in big trouble.
What, rattlesnakes?
Uh-huh.
If you confront a rattlesnake and you're in fear of your life, you can lead shoot it.
Yes, but she wasn't, and she was told about it. So I was like, do not touch those things.
No. There's a guy, I used to live by the Guadalupe River, and there's a little dam, and the bridge is one of those that you go and water rolls over the bridge all the time. And this guy was on his little golf cart, and I saw him sitting there with his arm sticking out of the golf cart. I got to do it this way so you can see me. Up. Nope. Well, I'll just do it this way with the arm sticking like this out of the golf cart, and there's a snake, and he's just doing this. By the way, now you get to see the full background.
Yes. And, mine is plain so far. I am
some people like it, some don't. I'm like, oh well. So I turned around, being a first responder, and I knew better. That guy had gotten bit, but he's holding on to that snake because if he let go, moccasins and water snake, cottonmouth or moccasin, whichever you call them, will chase you. They're aggressive. Rattlesnakes will retreat before they bite. And I go up there and I said, "You okay?" And goes, "Yeah, I got this snake." and he had a dog sitting in the golf cart, and that dog's like,
"I'm not okay.
I ain't moving." And he's holding it, and that head is starting to wiggle up like this. And I said, "Cinch that thing, sir." And he cinched it. And I said, "Where you bit?" And he goes, "Right where the head is. I bit right there." And I said, "Why on earth are you holding this moccasin that bit you?" "Well, I was reaching down to get my hook off of the little limb over there. I was fishing, and I saw it, and I just grabbed it to get it out of the water." And I said, "What's logic in that?" So, "Well, I was just going to relocate it so no one got bit." I said, someone did get bit. You. I'm on the phone with 911. I'm getting an ambulance there, right? He said, well, he don't hurt much. They arrive up here, right? Now, these is Texas folk. You think they know how to handle a water moccasin? This is EMS. There's a big EMS unit right there in front of me. I'm volunteer firefighter. Sometimes we do better than the paid people do. And they're sitting there, and there's a sheriff and 3 EMT. I mean, everybody's powwowing around this guy still holding the snake. And I said, my kid, my home is like right up a block away. I said, run up there real quick and get a pillowcase. And they go, we have pillowcases on the unit. And I said, then why am I having to tell you how to do your damn job? I said, get the pillowcase, let him throw it down in that pillowcase, wind it up, because they have to take the snake with him to the hospital and throw it in this back compartment where there's nothing else.
Yes.
And get his ass to the hospital.
Please.
I said, well, I don't know. It don't look too bad. I think it's just a dry bite. I don't feel bad. And I'm all like, you look green.
You don't look so good, sir.
You don't look so good. So then he refuses to go to the hospital. So now they got to get the snake out of the bag.
Oh, gosh.
I'm all like, okay, we got an embankment here. Put the bag with the snake in it, get it, hold it, where's the flashlight, look and find out where the head and the body is, lay it down and dump a few leads into it. Pick it up and see if it's deceased. So they did it, and they didn't check to see if it was deceased. They put about 4 or 5 leads in it, and then they dumped it out, and boom, it makes a beeline right towards them. I was like, how stupid. Yeah, no kidding. Tourniquet stat. He refused to go. So he's driving off in his little golf cart down the street. I figured out where he lived. Didn't see him because we used to always see him fishing. Didn't see him forever. And I thought he died. So I drove by. He goes, no, I got sick as hell. And look at my hand. He sliced it himself.
Oh, gosh.
Showed it himself.
Oh.
He lived. Now that's
good for him. I mean, lived in spite of himself.
Yeah.
Dr. Bullbetter, you're fine. I don't mind like having a conversation because we all need to have them, and I don't want everybody to think like me, or that's boring. So I always tell everybody in my chat, if you don't think the way that I think, that's great. And just all tell me, and everybody's respectful, and it's good. We're all good. I'm good.
Y'all,
it's fine.
I have moonshine from Tennessee. Because this girl was born in Tennessee mountains. I'm a Tennessee, hillbilly, Texas redneck. With the touch of class. Yes, tourniquet would have been nice. You would think the EMTs would know what to do, but they didn't. Oh, I'd agree when it comes down to it, but we don't. Sorry, what was it down to? The whole thing is we don't know what happened. But once again, it has to be beyond reasonable doubt.
And I hope that they are doing their job. And I hope that I don't want to send somebody that shouldn't be in prison to prison. I don't want to set somebody free that should be in prison.
Hence why being a juror is very difficult, because you will always second guess yourself unless you're like Sarah Honey Boone, who had the video.
Oh my gosh. And then still thinks she's going to walk away. So I will tell you this. If Gabby can probably find it faster than I can because I think she found it
You
from.
can have it shipped to me, Gabby.
Gabby, the Frank's motion, because I'm not going to have time to.
All right,
go
give
through
me
it.
a little heads up on that.
Because it's 132 pages, and I've now even made it through half of it because I've been trying to digest it.
Okay, Frank's motion. What do you mean? Catch me up.
So they filed a Frank's motion for that third party culprit. That's where Dr. Boldbutter's like, you're looking for a unicorn. And most of the time I would agree with her, believe it or not. But the statements that these people made, and I don't care if they were Odinist or not Odinist. If you tell the police, if you find my spit on one of the girls' bodies, but I can explain it away, I can explain why it's there, would I still be in trouble? And you don't investigate that person? And then one of the other men's sons was, they put it in quotes, dating Abby. These people's former significant others, because I think they were all ex-wives and then ex-girlfriends by the time they did the interviews, all didn't have very nice things to say about them and how violent. One of them said two of the men were the most violent men she's ever known.
Who took these notes? I'm sorry.
These were from early on investigation, and my understanding from what I'm reading. There's so much to read here, and there's so much to digest. I've only just kind of gotten through the things you need to know, and not even through to where they really go into detail of why weren't these people investigated. And they basically, even there was other officers that weren't in the unified command that investigated it, sent an 85-page report to the prosecutor. He didn't turn it over to the state or to the defense because it was like, oh, we forgot type of thing, or it got lost type of thing. I mean, either way, it was wrong. But the FBI behavioral, BAU said that even they said that this was, it was ritualistic. But the Indiana State Police kicked them off. They kicked the FBI off the case. I don't know why that was not asked in trial, and it's not in here yet that I have seen. But yeah, it's really, really long. It's really long.
Thank you, Gabby.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. And it's just.
And here we are, day 3, day 4. How many days are we in jury deliberation right now?
They got it Thursday afternoon. I think around like 1:30. But they asked to break for the day, I believe around 3:20, but the judge was going to send them back to the motel or hotel at 4:00 anyway. And then, so then they deliberated Friday, I believe till 4. They deliberated, a half day on Saturday, because they've had court on Saturdays. And then today was nothing. Tomorrow was supposed to be nothing because of it's Veterans Day, but she's still having them come in. And so, because they're away from their families this whole entire time.
How long has this trial been going?
This is what, was it day 19? Some of them count it different. Some of them count jury selection. So I think it's around 3 weeks.
I have pulled up, I'm trying to look for anything new on Sarah Boone. And we have a notice of filing given the defendant Sarah Boone by and through undersigned counsel the deposition. So they released the transcript of the deposition of Miss Dr. Werner.
Sarah
84 pages.
drives me nuts.
87.
Oh my.
I'm not reading them all right now. But I do want to kind of look at that eventually because that ought to have some good stuff in it.
Most stuff with her does, but it gets frustrating because when I read her motion for a new trial, I know her attorney's just doing his job, but I was like, nobody told you to take her case, and nobody told you to shut your law office down while you did take the case. Oh, so this is a lot of self-imposed pain, sir. It's like, you were dumb for taking. I think he thought he would go get her to take the plea deal and walk away and be the hero. And it's like, sorry, she's too narcissistic to take a plea deal.
Well, the one thing that bothered me, with this whole thing is, number one, not that he took the case. All attorneys to some point with a case of this level and magnitude will shut their practice down already. That is nothing new. Okay. The attorneys that had my ex-husband's position, his case, he had 4 attorneys. Their practices were huge. So they did not have to shut down. And his 4 attorneys were not all of the same practice. Okay. But a chunk of it did, because they had to remove a certain amount of their staff in order to help them with the trial. But a smaller person or smaller attorney or firm, a lot of times will focus everybody's effort into this size of trial and have 1 or 2 people set aside to handle the everyday things.
And you and I can agree on that, Dr. Bullbetter.
What?
Her and I are going to agree for once.
You are going to agree?
Oh yeah, we're going to agree. He is awful.
Hell has broken.
Oh, I assume she's talking about Owens.
Oh, okay. Okay, real quick, Gabby, is it in my Discord? And where? I'm lost a little, and I'm trying to read everybody's comments, so it's easy for me to get there. So, so that didn't bother me that he said that. I mean, that did bother me. He said that. He knew what he was getting, and I agree. AJ's Discord. I agree, and I think very much that he was hoping to get her. There it is. Oh, no, maybe not. He was really trying to get her to take a plea deal, and he even admitted, I tried, but she was not going to have it. She wanted her day in court, and that's going to be what it is. Now, the thing that gets me is that a lot of people were really, really hating him. They were hating on him. If I was in her shoes, yeah.
Yes, you can.
I was in her shoes.
You can go in there, Dr. Bullbetter.
I would definitely hire him, because he threw everything at this case when he knew the chances of her actually getting off were nil. You have 2 Libby, Abby, Delphi. You have 1 and only case documents, and then you have the chat about the case. So I'm trying to figure out where she's putting this.
Gabby will have to answer that, because she's the one that has been the.
There's a memorandum of support PDF. Let me see. Let me open it and see. 136 pages. Is that the one?
Yes.
Oh, it's already there. Yep. I'll pull it aside. There we go. And I'll drop it in mine. I'll put it in members chat for y'all who want to see that. See if I can drop it into members chat. I'll save it. I'll deal with that later. But anyway, he threw everything. He defended her the best that anybody could in that situation. May not like what he did, may not like some of the tactics, but in all honesty, in his situation, he had to pull out, he had to go for the Holy Grail, the Bible, every Jesus relic, and I'm a chaplain, so don't go crazy on me. You know what I mean? He
Oh yeah,
he had to,
absolutely.
knowing that she's guilty.
And she still deserved, at the end of the day, she still deserved a fair trial. So, and I'm glad, I think she got one. I don't
Well,
think
his
anything.
goal was is to defend her.
Yeah,
He knew
so
she couldn't defend herself, and it got him out there. Although I think, someone got mad at him for throwing a fit when the family left, and he's sitting here putting in the appellate issues that the family caused an undue prejudice against her because they had an outburst. He's doing his job.
correct. And that's what I said. Even reading the motion is like, it really just annoyed me, the stuff he was complaining about. He was still just doing his job. But it still
yeah.
annoyed me because I'm like, this is still self-inflicted pain that you did not have to do. So you chose to, and that's fine, because she just, like I said, she deserved a fair trial. Because if she can't get one, that means somebody that really needs one can't get one. So I want everybody to have one. And that's the worst of the worst, the best of the best, everyone in between. But
Well,
she's just so, I don't know how she thinks, because I can't understand it, how she thinks. That I'm like, you're going to sit in prison knowing you could have been out if you would have taken the plea deal. And I'm not a huge person on plea deals because I think some of them are really bad. And I think a lot of people they think they don't really have any other out, so they take them to make sure that they can be with their families.
Well, like Young Thug, he did. I mean, I don't know if he's guilty or innocent. I have no clue. But I will say, I think that what he did was the best thing he could have done for his family.
That trial.
Huh?
I said that trial. Holy cow. That Young Thug
I
trial.
couldn't watch it.
I couldn't either. It was such a mess.
A hot mess. And for me, it was like, I can't do this.
Mm-mm.
But I do believe that, I don't know if he's guilty or not. I'm not going to go down that aisle. But I believe his reasoning was a good reason, because he knew that there's that wasn't that case getting ready to, wasn't something getting ready to happen with the prosecution, and they were getting ready to call it a mistrial or something.
I think they were arguing for one, and the judge was going to rule on one, but I don't know. Anything that I have seen has really just been like headline stuff.
At the risk of it being a mistrial and them trying him again, and him having to stay in jail during that whole time and go through another 9 months or whatever, a trial, which I think is horrible. I think that they have made the wrong decision by running all of the defendants together. I think it really would have saved the county more time and efficient if they tried everybody separate. But anyway, I think he made the right choice. I think that it gets him back out. He can live, he can do his job, he can go. He is going to monitor on him, but in the end, he's going to be home with his kids. And he was for Halloween.
Good. I think. I don't know.
What?
That it's good that he's home. I don't
What
know.
I'm saying is in his mind, it was a good thing to take a sure thing versus taking I could risk another 2 years in jail awaiting a new trial and going through the trial and missing out on my children's lives. Do I believe he's innocent? Most likely not. But I think if Sarah Boone had thought of it that way, I think we would have had a different outcome. I think that if Sarah Boone was really loving and thinking of her child, she would have taken the deal.
Yes. And good night, Tracy.
Bye, Tracy. Where does Tracy live?
She is in Canada.
And you are where?
Indiana.
You were in Indiana. I'm tired. So, I think that the biggest thing I keep telling everybody about the Sarah Boone is that child is forever destroyed as far as that's concerned. The only good news is his father. I think his
Yes.
father is going to do the best he can. I think his father's been trying to have his best interest at heart all along. So I'm Gabby's candidate. So I firmly believe that there's some hope for that boy. My kids went through it, and it takes a strong parent. It takes a strong community that surrounds the kids. It wasn't just me. And that's the important thing. Back to the other Delphi. Does he have a wife and kids?
He has a wife and daughter.
Where are they in this?
Where are they living, or where are they?
Where are they in
like-
this whole process? Are they divorced? Do they
No,
believe in not believing?
she believes they're there. She's been in court every day except for when they showed the videos of him in the prison setting where he was didn't have his clothes on and was like when he was having his psychotic break. She didn't want to see, and I don't blame her. I would not want to see that. But no, she's been there. The daughter's there.
What was his reasoning for being in that area?
He was walking. So looking down on the from the bridge down to Deer Creek, it's very clear from the way the water is clear. Like you can see the fish in the water. And he liked to fish. So he liked to go and look at the fish. I don't know if he was taking pictures of the fish. But I think other people were just out there because it was nice, and other people were out there exercise, walk their dogs, whatever. So it wasn't, I think it was just a nice day and people were out.
And there's nothing wrong with taking a walk and going to the river or creek and look at the critters. Isn't wrong with that at all. So they will be in court tomorrow, or they will not?
The jury will be deliberating tomorrow, even though it's a holiday.
I forgot it was a holiday. My mind has just been crazy. For those of you, I've got somebody asked about my sister. She is not great. She's still struggling, but her dad's going to be there. Her dad's going to be there. Hopefully tomorrow coming in, and we'll be here for a few months and over the holidays. And we will be continuing to support her. She's got stage 4 triple negative metastasized breast cancer. It's in her lymph nodes, blood everywhere.
Wow.
And it's just been a hard walk. So I am tempted to take tomorrow off and Tuesday morning off because I'm going to be out of town. I've got a fire department meeting. It's 2.5, almost 3 hours away, and it's at 9. So I'm thinking about hopping on Tuesday afternoon. I don't know what to do tomorrow. There's really no court, is there?
Mm-mm. Nope. I think I'm going to hop on and I've got a couple. Yes, he was checking his stocks on his phone.
What? Well, I can't say anything because I'm walking around doing stuff. I'm checking my YouTube.
We are all guilty of always. Yes. Yes. I agree with Gabby.
Thank you. I want to do a fundraiser for her because, as you know, cancer is expensive. And just because you have insurance, it doesn't cover it all. And there's a lot of things it's not covering. And I'm wanting to, after Christmas, once Christmas is over, is to have a bunch of my fellow YouTubers. I'll invite you to hop on and us possibly do a benefit. She'll come in for a little bit and share and talk. But
Okay.
I know we may not raise a whole lot, but anything for her right now is better than nothing.
Yep.
It is stripping the family's finances.
I can only imagine that. Yeah.
I mean, she had a triple negative breast cancer 5 years ago, and 85% chance coming back within 2 years. It hadn't. She was a few months shy of her 5th year anniversary, and it just
Wow.
shut off. She's had cleaned everything, and then it exploded. So, all right, veterans. My father's a veteran. A lot of people I know are veterans. I want to wish all you veterans a blessed day. Let's remember what it
Absolutely.
is about. My father was in the Coast Guard, and I found myself for the last 3 or 4 days watching that Coast Guard rescue show on is it YouTube? I think it's YouTube. And my father out in Alaska. My father was based out there. So I lost my father about 2 years ago. But buy a meal for a veteran if you can afford it. Buy him a cup of coffee. They gave up a lot of their love, and the families. I kind of someone said, "Well, your dad was a veteran, you're not." And I said, "The family are veterans because we served along with. We sacrificed. We gave up our lives with them. They were gone for months at a time, and the families serve along and our stresses and worry about them coming home and all of that. So, veteran wives, I gotta say a humble thank you. Why
Absolutely.
put up with so much. They sacrifice a lot. And then the children. And that's my humble opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
There you go.
But remember a veteran tomorrow. AJ, you were so awesome. I hope you want to come back again.
Absolutely. I had a good time.
Yeah.
I actually I was trying to think of something witty to say to Dr. Bullbutter, but I don't have anything in me. So I'm sorry, Dr. Bullbutter.
Hey, do you know what I love about Dr. Bullbutter? It's okay. All of the people, I love my part of the community is a part of the overall community is that we can agree to disagree.
Us
And
too.
we do often.
Us too.
And that's what an alternate juror is. We all look at the case and we all see it, and that's what a jury is. And this is exactly what a jury goes through is they disagree and they have to find a means of agreement where they can agree, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. But everybody's nice about it, and we can have fun giving each other a hard time. Oh, Dr. Bullbutter, my cancer was a triple negative breast cancer. Oh my gosh. And you're a survivor. I'm really sorry to hear your sister going through. Oh, thank you. Yeah, she had a lesion on the back of her neck, and then she ended up where the lesion was, having a broken neck because it damaged the bone. She
Wow.
has a big mass between the heart and sternum, a mass on her thigh. It's in the lymph nodes, in the lungs. I think there was in the liver. Yeah. I'm happy she's here for another Christmas. She's had some amazing results from chemo, but she's at the point now where she's having to make some life decisions. But
And
Bullbutter, I am so grateful that you survived. How many years out are you? Let's see. She goes. Dr. Bullbutter goes. AJ, hugs and love.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Hugs and love. Well, it has been a blessing. I hope that you and I will connect again soon,
Yes.
either on
Thank
my
you
show or your show. I love your gang. I appreciate y'all. You don't have to subscribe, but at least like. I wouldn't mind if you subscribe. I've told all of my gang, go over and subscribe over at Alternate Juror. Do you have the ability to look at your numbers?
I can. Give me a sec here.
I was wondering if you increased. Y'all, please go comment, like, and subscribe on her side.
Oops.
Now, I've had ovarian cancer, breast cancer, and melanoma. And when people go, oh, I've had melanoma, no, I mean like scars like this. It's a T on the middle, right on my spine, goes up and down, and then I had chemo and everything.
Well, I would like to tell you if I could look, but my computer is being weird.
Well, I can look.
Hang on one second. I'm there.
I got so excited. On one live, I gained 70 something subscribers and I was up to 2,444 subscribers. Now I'm down to 2,405.
Yeah, YouTube does that. I don't. Oh, thanks, Gabby. I know I was at, like Gabby said, I know I was at 1,104, and I don't know my number at the back of it, but it's at 48. So it's at 1,148. So I don't
hopefully you've gone up.
I hope so. I have, like, I kind of just, I leveled off for a little bit. It's like it went crazy and then it just went poof. But right before I got monetized, I lost 87 subs. When you only need, well, some people need 500. I needed 600. That's a lot at that time. I woke up thinking went to bed 599 subs, and I woke up thinking I'll be monetized, and I was down 87 subs, and I was so mad yeah, they just come in and just take them every now and then, and it's like, why?
Well, because when you have a steep growth, some people buy their memberships.
Yeah, and I just had covered a bad trial, and it just.
Thank you, Dr. Bull Butter. She's
Thank you. Yay! Thank you so much.
Didn't scare her too much.
Like I said, I appreciate. Oh, I'm losing everybody. Okay, I'm just gonna quit clicking buttons.
Love, I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to say farewell. Guys, I was so disappointed. I have this fabulous tea company that is sponsoring me, and Ollie Tea, and I made a great commercial for them, and it's telling me that there's issues, and I've got to remake the whole thing.
Oh, is that what you were telling me?
I was let me see if I can do this. I can do this.
Thank you, future.
I was so irritated because I'm going to share screen and then we'll go. I was so irritated.
Sorry, I was reading Zach's comment.
Oh, Zach is priceless, man. I love Zach. So here is I don't think you can hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Hear it? Let me know.
I could hear it.
Welcome Ollie Tea to our family. They are our new sponsor. Ollie Tea is a veteran, woman-owned company. They are passionate about creating artisan small batch herbal teas, focusing on self-care.
Oops, sorry, I'm trying to make it bigger. Okay, keep playing.
And wellness, while at the same time offering tasty drink options. Ollie Tea does not incorporate scenting or flavoring agent and is naturally caffeine-free with no added sugars. They let the natural ingredients speak for themselves. The herbal teas are packed as loose leaf and in convenient tea bags. Certified Go Texas and homegrown by heroes. They offer many different choices, from lavender citrus to lemony mint to restore and to scarlet nibs. They also offer fabulous Christmas gifts, such as these wonderful tea strainers. Y'all, this is absolutely beautiful. They also offer fabulous Christmas gifts, such as these wonderful tea strainers.
It's doing it over because of I was trying to copy and fix it. So they fit on the inside of the mug, holding on.
Those are cute.
So anyway, I'm frustrated. I got to get this done. Does that look okay? Do y'all like it?
Yeah, I know you said you were like, I have to redo it, but you should be pretty much through most of it, weren't you?
It's the end that's getting it. It's the last slide. And I took away the QR code because it said that was a problem. And every time I add a slide to it, it says that it's malfunctioning. So I got to start from ground zero.
Well, I hate
So
that.
blessings, everybody. Y'all have an awesome night. I'm going to let you go. You have a fabulous rest of your evening. Have a
Thanks,
great
you too.
time tomorrow. I will be watching. Are you going to go live tomorrow?
I think briefly. I've got a couple just kind of light stories to do that I just kind of saw today on the news and YouTube land. So I saved them. They don't have anything to do with Delphi. They don't have anything to do with, anything really. And I figure we'll do that if they come back with the verdict. We'll do that. But if not, I'm gonna just do a short stream, and I think I'm gonna have my granddaughter tomorrow. So I will not be able to do a long stream because she's only 4 months old, and so I'll be able to do it as long as she cooperates with me. And then after that, then I will need to be with her. So, but yeah, that's my plan. So you travel safely tomorrow, right? You're tomorrow
late afternoon. Yeah, we
Yeah.
gonna get some fire training in.
Well, you have a good time, and I appreciated being here.
I get a hose with a bunch of water. No, we won't be doing that tomorrow. Yeah, I got funny stories, y'all. Being the only girl at fire training brought a ton of funny stories.
I am sure.
All right. I'll be watching for you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have
See
a great
guys.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys. I appreciate everybody's warm welcome. I appreciate everybody's kindness. So we really appreciate you so very much. Thank you to my guests. I really, really did enjoy our time together. It was awesome, and all of y'all are fabulous. I want to give a special shout out to Miss Toy. Thank you for the $2, and Zach, thank you for the $1.99. How dare you have a party without inviting me? It was there. So, but thank you guys for the super chats. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, we will see you Tuesday about noonish. And if anything happens, I'll go live tomorrow, but don't plan on it. We'll just see how the day goes and what presents. Okay. So with that, y'all have a great evening. Thank you for spending your Sunday evening with me. You could be anywhere else, and that you were with me. I am so grateful. So grateful. AJ has a great laugh. She really does. I like her laugh. And thank you so much, Gabby. And Haley Mouse has a great voice for reading. She's fabulous. I love to have her on again. So blessings, sleep well. Thanks for choosing to spend your time with me. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Till next time, take care.